Here it Hi. I'm trying to, y'all know me. I'm trying to be ready. I'm trying to be ready, but the bike boys are out there and whew. So hi. So I'm Sharon Nixon. I don't know why my name is not showing, but I'm Sharon this Nixon. I do know who I am. I really do. I'm a little nervous because this is a really, really big and exciting um, contest that we're doing. It's the first ever for Baltimore Fashion Week. But I wanted to bring the designers, the participating designers for the contest. I wanted to bring them on board. So if you have any questions, you can ask them. I have some questions for them that they don't know about. So that's my little organic poll that I like to do. And so we'll bring them in individually in the order as they are on the site, which is Baltimore Fashion Week, baltimore-fashionweek.com/, the designers. So if you go there, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. And we'll also put a link up once the YouTube page launches and the Baltimore Fashion Week page launches. Once this ends, I'll add a link that'll take you directly to the page. But first, I want to dive in. First, I want to thank you all for voting. The votes have been fabulous and they have been amazing. I didn't expect for it to get the type of um, response that it received, which is pretty cool. Now, I don't know if we'll do this contest again. We may, but right now I'm working on a lot of a lot of different caveats that pertain to the Baltimore Fashion Week in August and our designer debut in New York. So I'm kind of busy, but we'll see. We'll see. We might make an annual thing of it. I don't know. But if we do, it's only open to designers who participate in Baltimore Fashion Week or the designer debut. So let's talk about this contest. It's called From Flat to Finish. I Someone pitched the idea to me. Y'all know me. I'm just gonna keep it 100. And I thought it was a really cool idea. We did have to make a switch in the layout and branding of the contest, but here we are. And I'm so excited that they contacted us and wanted us to do it. There will be the rules of the I'm not going to let's talk about the rules of the contest was that the designers had to create a garment, any garment. It could be for a cat, a dog, a man, woman, child. It could be for anyone that they thought could fit it. Or if they didn't have those people, they could use a dress form. The only thing they could not do was bring a professional model in to walk in the garment because we're all supposed to be quarantined. So if we're quarantined, then you can't have none of your model friends modeling any of your garments, which we all get. And so there weren't really any rules. When it started out, it was okay, let's see who can get the most votes. And this is very Project Runway-ish. So earlier this week, I had to play the role of Tim Gunn and throw in the wrench to the program, to the contest, the program. And that was kind of interesting for me. I felt kind of bad, but it felt good to be Tim Gunn. I love Tim Gunn. And so the actual virtual fashion show and how we'll be announcing the winner will be on Saturday, May 9th at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that will be on YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel, we'll send it out via email and everything. You can be able to watch the video. And that will be also the first time that the designers will know who will be the winner because we're not telling them. They'll find out when they watch the video. So the first designer that we're going to bring to the stage is Denise. So here she is. Hi, Denise.
Hi. Hello.
So that's Denise Robinette. You may know her. She's very familiar to our runway. Denise has been in Baltimore Fashion Week, I think, twice, 2 or 3
Yeah.
times. Okay, and she's also did designer debut last year. And Jenna Blaha, who you all know, was a guest here for our Lunch With series last year. She actually received or wanted to purchase a top from Denise, but Denise, being a designer, as most designers do, she gifted it to her, which I thought was mad cool. And so, Denise, tell us a little bit about yourself and your idea for your dress.
I'm a knitwear designer. I started at 9 years old. My sister had taught me, and then I progressed. I had Done a lot of festivals. I had 2 stores in Massachusetts. One was in Peabody, Mass, and the other one was in Gloucester, Massachusetts on the wharf. And so I kept progressing. And then I did Baltimore Fashion Week 2 years ago. I do themes, and I do a lot of summary stuff. So what I decided to do for this project runway type of test was summer beach wear with a black dress and a shawl type, and you can wear it 5 different ways. Either tied in the front.
Can you bring the, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Can you bring
I have it here if you want to see it.
Okay, yeah, that'll be cool. Yay, there it is.
So it's either this way in the front. If I can do it with one hand, I have a phone. So, or draped over. Draped over in the front or to the side or around the waist.
I know the look that you had in one of the images, which we're going to show as well later on in this, during this interview, is you had it and it looked like it was a tube top or a tunic, not a tunic, but like a bandana and it went behind the neck. I thought that was really cool. You don't have to do it now, because I'm gonna show them later, unless you you feel you look like you really want to do it. Go ahead and do it, because you look like you really want to do it.
The one around the neck.
Yes.
It's just very easy. You tie it like a regular scarf and you bring it through and you pull it over and then make a triangle.
Oh, okay.
I know a lot of different ways. So even with when you do other beach things, I can show you more.
Okay.
Someday.
Well, Denise's collection last year. So the designers that debuted in the designer debut in New York also showcase one of their favorite looks during Baltimore Fashion Week, and the designers that are going to New York this year will also do the same thing during Baltimore Fashion Week. And these designers that I am interviewing tonight, they will also be in Baltimore Fashion Week. So if you don't get a chance to visit their collections on the website, you can come to the show. And you, wait a minute, Denise, you got some kudos. Liam Magazine said they love your design. Put your glasses on, sweetie.
Boston, I love Boston. Yeah.
So they will, these designers will also showcase their looks during the collection. So Denise, how hard was it? I know the time frame was really short for this contest. So how difficult was it for you, being a knitwear designer, to come up with that? And I apologize, because I know I probably stretched you completely out, but you did an awesome job with the garment. But how hard as a knitwear designer was it for you to create such a dress and a concept like that in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, that it's very difficult, because it takes me about a month or more, depending on how difficult or how big the design is going to be. So it usually takes me a month. It also depends on the type of yarn I use. This one I had chosen, I had to pick what was in my house. I had to use what's in the house. I couldn't go out and buy it. So I had this black yarn, and it's very stretchy. And I had to use big needles to make it go faster and all. So if I had used a thinner yarn or a tinier yarn like lace weight, that would have taken me forever. So when I got the yarn, I thought of that. If I also used a tinier yarn, I would probably had to use double the amount of yarn and make 2 panels. So, and then with the scarf, I decided to do, this is a drop stitch. So it goes very fast and it's very easy to do. If I had chosen a tighter stitch or something without so many holes in it, it would have taken me much longer.
So in knit world or in the knit universe, the tighter the stitch, the longer the process is to create.
Yeah, and like I did at the beginning of my other video, the larger the needle, the faster it goes. If it's a very tiny needle like lace work, it takes forever. You know, I tried to do a project last year with that, and it just didn't work. It didn't make it.
So for those of you who don't know the video, or then I'm sorry, not the video, but the needle size that Denise is talking about, if you go to baltimore-fashionweek.com and click on flat to finish, and when you go to Denise's video, she's the very first designer on the page, you'll see that huge needle. It's like really big.
That
like
was a 17.
Really
They start from like a 0 or a 3 all the way. That was a 17 for this black dress. Yes.
Well, thank you, Denise, for your time. And now we're going to interview. Do you have any questions for me, or do you have anything else to say before we move on to the next designer?
I love Project Runway. I hope to make it someday. That's all I say. I gotta learn to sew.
You gotta register. You gotta keep it moving, and you gotta register and don't give up.
Yeah, I gotta learn to sew. Thank you so much.
We'll bring Denise back in a few minutes. So that was Denise Robinette, and she was the first designer on the page. So now we're going to bring up Vanessa Stevenson, and when you go to the website, she is the second designer, and let's bring her on now. Hi, Vanessa.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So Vanessa, if you go to the site, and you can still vote if you want to. If you go to the site and vote, you'll see Vanessa. The last time I looked, because I've been busy doing other projects this week, you'll see, I think she was in the lead. Were you in the lead, Vanessa?
Yes.
Okay. So Vanessa's going to, so tell us a little bit about the contest or the process that you had to take to create your garment.
So my name is Vanessa with V Kisses Couture. And when I found out about the contest, I was very excited. Luckily, like a month before, I brought a whole lot of jean fabric, a whole lot of neoprene. And so I was good. I was set. Because those are the things that I wanted to make sure that I went with, because of the thickness of the fabric. So my process of getting my garment done, my daughter's my model. So I was like, okay, I want to make something for her. This would be easier for me to have a body to model this for me than trying to push the mannequin for the virtual runway. So what I did was I thought of a design and I sketched it out. And a lot of things that I sketch, and I've been noticing more and more, it's about a warrior of a woman being strong. And so that's why I made the outfit that I made for her. As you can see, I'll have her come in a little bit. You see the crown that's on her shoulder. The reason why I had the crown on the shoulder is to showing that this person is a queen. And with everything that I do, I want to brand myself, because I am not a Saint Laurent or any big brand just yet. And until people, even after, but until people can look and see red lips and say, oh, that reminds me of V Kisses Couture, I will always put that in my design. So that's why I put the lips on the front of the dress, and as well as the lips are also the skirt on the dress as well. So my process was thinking of a design, sketching it, coloring it in, so to make sure the everything flowed well together, give me a visualization of how it's going to be in real life. And then what I did was I made the pattern. I had to make it to her size and cut the fabric out in the pattern and sewed it together, put it on her for a fitting, and then complete the whole garment.
So, in creating a garment, how hard was it? Because I know your vision was for an adult size client or customer. How hard was it to actually rethink the garment or the entire process to fit a little person's body like your daughter?
It was a little difficult, I will say, at first. Thank you. I will say at first, the lips was not in the front, and I was like, I normally wouldn't let her wear that, but it's for the contest. I'll just put it on her. And I had professional advice from Miss Sharon, like, no, that is not gonna work. And I'm glad because when you put in things in the forefront, you have to be mindful of what different things that people might say or how they may view it, even though you're not thinking of it right now. And with the contest being like, okay, this is the contest. Okay, let me go ahead and get it done. So I think it was about a week or two, maybe about a week to get the everything done. So it was I won't say it was really hard, but it was just a little bit of we did things like 3 and 4 times to make sure it was right. And luckily my daughter, she was a trooper. I was surprised, but she was a good trooper through the whole thing, our 10 videos.
Well, she's now like a little mini star
She made
because
it.
she'll be the actual video for the runway show, the virtual runway show will be Saturday, and she'll be on it. It's going to be on our YouTube page, and it's also going to be on the From Flat to Finish page on the website. And so there it will have an art, especially on YouTube, it'll have an archival presence for a while. So did you have anything else that you'd like to say before we move to the next designer?
Remember me, remember V Kisses Couture. You will see a whole lot of them lips. So just remember us, remember V Kisses Couture, and vote for us. And appreciate everyone's design. We appreciate all of you all checking in.
Thank you, Vanessa. So next we're bringing to the platform or to the stage, we're going to bring up LaVincient, and he is a designer that showcased for the first time last year during Baltimore Fashion Week. This year, he's doing menswear, he's doing women's wear, and he's also showcasing in New York, which is pretty exciting. I mean, who doesn't want to showcase during New York Fashion Week, right? So let's bring him to the platform. Hey,
Hello.
LaVincient.
Hey. How are you?
Who are you waving at? So let me tell y'all why I'm laughing, because earlier the bike boys rode past and I'm like, oh my God. If y'all, he said my face was just this look. It was Viola Davis-ish.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
So that's so me. So LaVincient is the third and final designer for this contest, and he created. You know what? It's not my lane to say what you created, so that's why you're here. So tell everyone who's listening a little bit about who you are, and your design.
Well, I'm not going to cry, but as a little boy growing up in Mississippi, I mean, I've always dreamed of becoming a fashion designer. But for me, a little black boy in a small town in Mississippi, that dream was just that. It was a dream. And it wasn't until a year and a half ago I bought my first dress form. Hello. I brought my first dress form and started draping. And I saw Baltimore Fashion Week pop up on, I can't remember what platform it was, and they were looking for volunteers. And I decided that I wanted to volunteer to see, behind the scenes, how fashion shows work, how designers work. And I had probably about 20 garments that I had designed just for myself. They weren't supposed to be seen. They weren't even supposed to be out of the house. And in my interview, Sharon Nixon, founding creator of Baltimore Fashion Week, and the Fashion Umbrella Foundation uh, told me to move to the side, and I was like, why? So I moved to the side, and she kind of said, "Are you a designer?" And I said, "Well, I guess." And she said, "Well, show me some of your stuff." And I showed her some things that I'd done, and she's like, "Okay, that's it. You're showing them Baltimore Fashion Week." And I'm going, and she is actually the reason that I am the designer that I am today. And I just wanted to thank her and let her know how much I appreciate her. About design aesthetic, um, I would have to say I'm a Southern boy, and I approach design from an interesting standpoint. My design aesthetic is Southern fare with a modern flair. I kind of like, like Scarlett O'Hara. What would she be like if she was alive today? What would she wear besides curtains or drapes if she was alive today? What would be in her closet? What kind of garments would she wear if she was alive today? And that's how I kind of approach my design, is from that standpoint, because I'm very inspired by old Southern um, old Southern silhouettes, but actually bringing them up to date and making them fresh and modern. Having people say, "That reminds me of something." I can't remember, but as they see the collection and they see my clothes, they're going, "Oh, I get it." So that's kind of how I approach. That's kind of how I approach my design. And what I did, Sharon didn't ask this, but how I approached this project that she tasked us with is I thought, okay, if Scarlett O'Hara had to run out and all she had was a coat, what would that coat look like? What would she pair with that coat if she had to run out to the grocery store and she was quarantined? So I did a sketch and I draped the coat onto the form. And once I draped the coat, I patterned the coat, and then I cut the fabric and constructed it and did my finishings. And I actually have it right here if you would like to see it. Would you like to see it?
Yes.
You would? Okay. So here it is. This is the coat. This is it's got, as you can say, peak lapels, and it's got shoulder flaps here with gold buttons. And I love this corselet. I can totally see Scarlett in this. And it's actually a full length coat with a very, very, very big skirt. Now I want you to look at the inside. Miss Nixon, Miss Sharon Nixon, is very, very, very particular about not just the outside, but the inside. She always told me that whatever I do, the garment needs to look just as good on the inside as it does on the outside. So I pay close attention in my construction on the inside of the garment as well, because, like she said, it needs to look good on the inside as well as it does on the outside. And that was my garment. And that's my husband, by the way. He was.
Hey, husband. Hey. Well, I'm glad that because I do love a clean scene, and I go off when they're not clean. So it is what it is. I mean, you can't have a sellable garment. You can't have a sellable garment if everything needs to be 100% correct. If it's not correct, then it needs to stay in your house. Okay. So we have some comments. Magazine says, "Ooh, they love it." And then we have For Humanities from California. They love it. She said, "Right." Then they liked your husband. Hey, hubby. So now I'm going to bring. Well, thank you, LaVincient, for your kind words and all of that. You're making me feel really bad here, but it's who I am. So I want to ask all of you all collectively. I know individually You told me how maybe how difficult it could have been, but what were you expecting? The garment that you made, was it what you wanted to make? If someone had stopped you in the middle of the street and said, look, I need you to make a garment for me right now, would that have been your garment that you would have made? And if not, and you had more time, say maybe 2 more weeks, what would you have created? And now I'm not saying that what you created was not good. I'm just saying if you had more time, what would you improvise on? What would you change? What would you take away? Let's go with Denise.
If I had more time, I was gonna start practicing embroidery. So I was gonna like embroider flowers all over it, type of thing. That's another new challenge for me because I haven't done it in years. And then maybe put a trail on the back of it to change it. When you said you were gonna flip the challenge, I thought you were going to ask us to deconstruct the whole thing and recreate something.
What?
So I was sitting at home trying to figure. I was like, well, maybe I could shorten it to pull it up, flip it around, take the other thing and tie it so it's short. And I don't know, but that's what I was afraid of.
Because there's a little story behind with Denise's comment. Well, because those of you who know me know I don't sleep. So when I sent the message, it was really early. It was either really late at night or really, really early in the morning. And I just dropped it and bounced. And I said that I'll be back at noon. And then my world was just crazy that day. So I didn't get back until a day later. And I was like, I felt so bad because I knew they were like, what is she going to make us do? Because I started off with, okay, y'all, I'm Tim Gunn right now. And you know how the judges make him go in the room and tell everybody to do something. That's what I'm about to do. But it was a really pleasant, smooth Tim Gunn, I think. And so, so Vanessa, what did you think?
I wasn't sure what it was going to be. But mind you, throughout all this, I'm working on 2 fashion shows things and photo shoot things. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to stay calm and just see what happens and then just jump on it. So I was just ready for whatever.
And look, LaVincient.
You know me, I say bring it on. I'm ready. I'm ready for anything. I was ready. I was like, come on. Let's see what you got.
So the cool thing about this whole thing, at least I think, is that all of these designers, whether they were already registered for Baltimore Fashion Week or not, now they are in Fashion Week and they will be showcasing on Saturday. So you can see these 3 designers in live models. Are you going to use Vanessa? We'll talk about it later. But you'll see these designers in life-size, real-life garments during the runway show on Saturday, the 29th of August during Baltimore Fashion Week. So I'm just excited. So now what we can do now is, do you all have any questions for me before I open it up to our audience? Okay, so this is the time where you, our watchers, our audience, our followers, our fans, our fashion lovers and gurus, if you have any question, if it's directed to one particular person, you can list that person or say, designer number 1, 2, or 3, or you can just write your question and we'll put it up on the screen and someone can someone can just jump in to answer or I'll select someone to respond. Okay, so Linger Magazine says you guys rock, love the energy. Thank you, Linger. We tried. And all of the designers are from, wait a minute, Vanessa, you're from Baltimore, aren't you from Maryland?
No, I'm originally from New York, but I'm living in South Carolina right now.
Okay, so she's the only long distance, Vanessa, not she. Vanessa is the only outside of Maryland designer that's here. So Reginald's from Maryland and so is Denise. So I have a question for you all. Are you going to switch up your garment for Fashion Week? You don't have to tell me what you're going to do. It's totally up to you if you want to improvise. You can't change it, but you can add on. Look at
I'm
look
not,
at look at
I
look at LaVincent.
love the coat. The only thing I'm gonna add, I would say, would
I don't
probably
want to know. I don't want to know. Leave
okay.
them. Let there be an element of surprise. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me if you're going to change it or not. I'm just putting it out there. That's
I
another
love it.
part of the contest, and I thought it was a really good contest. So here's what the winner will get. Originally, the winner would get a plethora of fashion designer tools. That's still happening, but the tools will now be designed for the winning designer's needs. So for Vanessa, if she would be selected as the winner, and I'm not the one selecting the winner, although the votes will be counted and they have been given to the judges, and the judges they know that the votes are important, but it's more of a marketing tactic for the designers themselves. But we are the highest scores will be based off of marketability of the garment, ready to wear. Is it rack ready? Would a buyer want to purchase it? And also sustainability, like how versatile and sustainable is the garment. And when I say sustainability, I'm not saying that you have to use eco-friendly material. So all of that will be taken into consideration. The judges, their names won't go in the video, but it will be a thank you to a lot of people at the end of the video. So stay around for the credits. I'm really excited about this. And so I'm just excited. And that whoever wins, the package will be shipped to you. I've already started picking out the items and they're just sitting waiting for me to hit the button because we're in a quarantine and I'm not supposed to meet you to give you your stuff. So it will be shipped. But the lucky thing about this is that everybody will receive something. It won't just be one person, everybody will receive something. So I hope that they receive something that you all get that you all like. I think you can use this. It's really cool. I would like it. I would like it. So I don't think we can ask if the people that are here, so we have a few viewers, if they have any questions. If you do, you can list them in the comments and I will post them to the designers and they'll be able to see it and they can respond accordingly. Does Wesley have any questions? Tell Wesley I said type a question.
Wesley, type of question. Oh yeah.
Vanessa, yay! Your daughter is so cute. Where is she?
Right here.
Oh, tell her to come in the picture. She's a star now. She better get used to it.
That's a type of question. Type of question.
Stand
Yeah.
up. Stand up.
She's like, Mom, I'm hungry. It's dinner time.
Smile.
Cute.
Type of question. She wants to-
Oh, she's cute.
So my question is for you all to select the type of fiber / material that you use for the garment, other than Denise, because she explained it, for Vanessa and LaVincient, how difficult, I don't know your material stash, although I do know LaVincent's, his is pretty sick. But Vanessa and for LaVincient, how hard was it for you? Because the contest happened very quickly and it moved very, very fast. And we do have a question. So how hard was that for you to select the right fiber or material to create the garment?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I had already brought a bulk of like 5 different fabrics, and I have some fabric that's kind of old, and I didn't want to use that. I preferred to use the newest fabric that I had because my designer mind, the old fabric you just don't really care about anymore unless it's like something not that important for me. So it really wasn't too hard. I already knew that, okay, I have like yards and yards of these fabrics, so I'm gonna pick one of these, and I picked it based off of how I wanted it to flow, how I wanted it to fit, things like that.
And LaVincent, you wanted to add?
Yeah, I actually, you've seen my fabric room. I actually have a fabric room with racks and racks of fabric, color coded. I've got my blacks, my whites, my grays, my blues, my yellows, and it was when you said that you couldn't go anywhere. I was going, and she knew I got a fabric store in the house. So I mean, I have tons and tons and tons of fabric, and I don't buy fabric based on the theme. I buy fabric based on if I like it or not. And when I get a concept, I can go up to my fabric room and I can go through my fabrics and select, the kinds of fabrics that I have. I have everything from sequin to lace to brocade. I've got wools, I've got shears, I've got tulle. I mean, I've got, if you name it, I have it. And I
He's
don't
like
know.
a baby fabric store.
Yeah, and I mean, I go to the fabric store pretty much every week. And the good thing about it is I'm able to buy a lot of fabric. So I'm never at a disadvantage when it comes to design because I have a huge fabric room. So
So
I'm
the
lucky.
question, oh, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm done.
Are you sure? I was rude. I'm sorry. So I'm
No,
getting questions. So I have one question, and someone texted this to me. When did you know that your design was ready for submission, or did the deadline dictate when you would know?
well, I
Let me
was
say it
actually,
again.
oh, oh, I was, as soon as I got word, I started work right away. And I'm a fast sewer. I usually can crank out a garment pretty fast. So I mean, from the videoing and the editing and the flat, the construction, the draping, the pattern making, I was done in about 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Vanessa, how was it for you?
Um, well, as soon as I found out about it, I started thinking about my design, and It didn't take me long to get it made. It took me like a day with as far as pattern making and making the garment. But when it comes to my presentation with things, I'm like very, very huge on that. So I sort of set up my living room as close as I could as a runway, So as far as perfecting that, um, that was the part that took me longer. Perfecting the runway that took me longer so that the video would be up to par.
And Denise?
Um, I think I started drawing between that evening and the next day, drawing it out. 'Cause I knew I had black somewhere because I was thinking of using that one other year. And I have a lot of yarn. I have a den and areas downstairs in the basement, and I had my yarns, and I thought I had some of the teal. I love teal blue. Well, that's my sister's favorite. So I thought I had it, but I wasn't sure if I had enough. Fortunately, I did. So that's how it went. I went by the colors mainly.
Denise was like, that's
So
how I went. I don't know what you want me to say.
I had to start right away.
She is really. Mm. So we have a question. A question. Where do you get your fabrics from? Do you have a special point of sale store that you? I know about you, LaVincient, but do you have a special point of sale that for this question is for Vanessa and Denise, and then we'll let LaVincient answer last. Vanessa, where do you get your fabrics from? Where do you shop? What's your favorite store?
I honestly don't go to one specific place. Like I shop based off the projects that I'm doing, and depending on the project, I just start searching and I go from there. So I don't really have a specific place. I will say, until this quarantine, I did not do any local fabric store shopping because all we have is Joann's and you know, with price points and variety, they're more centered to quilting. So I shop more so online. I'll say that. I can find a whole lot more that way, but I don't have a specific store.
And for Denise, you do knitwear. Do you have a special yarn shop that you like to go to?
Um, I I might start at Joann's, but I also go on the internet and I look at all different types of yarns and from different countries, and I'll even order from England or Scotland or
Oh, wow.
another country if I find it on like Pinterest or Rivalry or um I like to have fabrics and the yarns from all over the world. Um, yeah.
And LaVincent?
Well, you know, my go-to store is G Street. And the reason I like G Street Fabrics is because they have a sustainable room. And in fashion, Sharon taught me that sustainability, not just in your brand, but in your construction and your garments and your clothes and the stuff you use, sustainability is very important. And what G Street does is they go to fashion houses like Christian Dior, they go to Yves Saint Laurent, they go to like Chanel, Michael Kors, Ralph Lauren, and they buy up all of these fabrics at really below cost. And I've even gotten Ralph Lauren fabric. I've gotten Chanel fabric that actually says Chanel. And the good thing about it is the yardage is $297 a yard. So you're getting designer quality fabrics for $2.97 a yard. And what's really cool is I love sequin, and we know sequin can range anywhere from $19 to $50 a yard, and mermaid sequin is extremely expensive. And I've got tons and tons of sequin for $2.97 a yard. They also go to these fashion mills and buy up all this fabric in bulk and bring it back to us as designers to actually get us to, come to the store more and to help us out. And I'm going to be honest, if it wasn't for G Street, I don't think I could afford the amount of fabric that I have. And that's why I have a room dedicated for fabric. And the good thing, and Vanessa, I really want to kind of piggyback on what you said about Joann's. You're exactly right. Joann's fabrics, and I hate to say this, but I'm just keeping it real. It's very low quality fabric, but the price point is so high for the type of fabric you're getting. And I'm getting luxury fabrics. I'm getting designer fabrics. So Vanessa, if you're ever up here, give me a call.
I will be soon.
I'll take you to G Street, and trust me, girl. Trust me when I tell you this. You're gonna be in heaven. It is amazing. And I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing, the kind of fabric that you're able to get.
So we have another question. This came from For Humanities. If you had more time for your garment, just name one thing that you would add?
Embellishments.
I'd say the
What kind of
same.
embellishments for you, Vanessa? I'm sorry, Denise.
Ryan,
No,
I'd say-
don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Okay.
Okay, go Denise. Go ahead.
I'd say the same, and I was going to back up and say I also get some things from Mood, and which were the embellishments like the rickrack, how do you say?
The fringe.
Rickrack. Fringe, and the clasp. I had a Oriental sweater I did the first year with you, and I did the Oriental clasp with that, and I got this Mood. So something on that type of line.
And Wesley? I'm sorry, you're not Wesley. You are Reginald. You are LaVincent. And LaVincent?
I would, if I had to add anything, I would add a tall black boot with the shorts.
Yeah.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. YouTube is going to shut me down. Anyway, okay. So if you, thank you for your question. So we have another one. What designers inspire you the most?
Christian Siriano. For me.
I can't remember. There's one. It is a designer name. I can't remember, but I do will always remember her design. I was looking her up on YouTube, but because, and you may know her, but she has been able to make movable and wearable designs that are very avant-garde. Like she did a project with an architect and they made a dress that looked like water just splashing. Like that stuff like that moves me. And I plan to get to that level in life soon or one day. But yeah, I can't remember her name though.
And LaVincient?
Dior Couture all the way. Dior Couture all the way.
So the next question is, have you grown from the first garment you ever created until now?
I can show you the first garment I made right in my closet. Heck yeah.
Denise?
You really want to know? You really want to know?
Oh,
It's my Barbie, my little Barbie. And remember Skipper? I still have him here. And the Barbie, she has one shoulder. I knitted one shoulder and one shoulder, open at 9 years old. So,
you don't want to see what I made.
Was it that bad?
Oh,
Okay. All right.
it went in the garbage when I finished it.
Oh, wow. Okay. So here's another question. What is the most important thing that you keep in mind when you begin the designing process for any garment or collection?
How creative.
Say that again.
How creative I can get. That's all I think about. Go ahead.
I have two mindsets. The first mindset is traditional draping, and that's making the fabric do what you want it to do. And then I have the mindset of improvisational draping, letting the fabric speak to me, letting the fabric tell me what it wants to do. And I found out that sometimes those garments come out to be amazing because you're letting the fabric speak to you. You're letting the fabric tell you what it will and will not do, as opposed to traditional draping where you make the fabric do what you want it to do. And sometimes it's fun because I start improvisational draping and I drape in the fabric, not in muslin. So that way the fabric really does speak to you. And sometimes I have no idea what I'm going to create. And in the end, I'm going, wow. So that's kind of how I approach design. Am I going to traditionally drape and force the fabric to do what I want it to do? Or am I going to allow the fabric speak to me and drape organically and allow the fabric to tell me which direction or how it wants to be pleated or draped?
So now I have a question, and I'm just going to ask it. And you don't have to let me know your client base or how many clients you have, but in your design or your creation process, when you're in that stage, in what part of your creation process does the client come into play, or that perfect person? So when you are creating your collection, for me, when I used to sew, well, I was sewing for me, but so I knew what I wanted. But if I was sewing for a client or someone outside of myself, I always tried to take in consideration what they want before I sew. So let's look at the websites. I design websites. And so when I meet with the client, I try to get a a demographic or DNA makeup of the type of personality that person has, which drives me to the end result of creating their website. For the design process that you do for your garments, what part does the client come into play if you are designing for a client? Does it come at um, the initial meeting or the concept? Do you include them in every step of the way of your garment? What part do they play? And
Well,
Denise, you can go first.
okay.
I usually start with colors that they would really want. And then like the length of the garment, if they want it short or long, because that would have to gear in how much material I'd have to buy. I'd have to calculate. And then halfway through, I would have to try it on them, you know, what I had done so far. And that's the way I had to keep going, type of situations.
Okay,
That's
LaVincient.
the way I.
As a matter of fact, I actually had a client before all this happened. She was actually a model who modeled for me for Baltimore Fashion Week. I can't remember her name. Allison. She had
Okay.
she had a masquerade ball, and she contacted me, and she came to the house and told me what she wanted in the garment. And I did a rough sketch. And when she came back, I showed her the finished sketch, and we made adjustments and did whatever she's like, well, can I raise the slit a little higher? And can I have a little longer train? So we did that, and she came back, she looked at the sketch, she approved the sketch, we went up to the fabric room, she selected her fabric that she wanted the dress to be made in, and I told her I could not make the dress in that fabric because she needed something a little bit flowy and had to have a corselet sewn into it, to keep that tummy in and to cinch you in. So I told her we can't go with this kind of fabric, but I do have this color in a heavier, a lighter weight fabric. And then once she did that, I did I measured her. We did the mock-up. She came back for her first fitting. Usually the first fittings are horrible. Well, this first fitting went really well. I had no adjustments. So I made it again in the same fabric in muslin that I made it in, again, the second time to make sure that it wasn't a fluke, that it fit. So once it fit twice, then I cut it in the regular fabric, and she came back for her final fitting, and I zipped it in the bag and delivered it to her car, and she paid me, and she was off to the ball.
She paid you. Keep your clients, pay your designers.
Yes.
Okay. Don't be asking for discounts either. Vanessa.
For me, the client comes into play, the beginning, the middle, and the end. I try not to, do too much back and forth when it comes with the client because I had an experience, and it's just sometimes easier to just like for me, what I love to do when I speak with the client for the initial consultation, get my sketch together, have them tell me what they would prefer in a color or whatever colors they choose. I have people give me like 4 colors at least that they would prefer to have, because when it comes to fabrics, always, or even when you're trying to find an outfit, the color that you want and something that you want, you can never find it. So give me a variety, and I'll piece them together in whatever fabric it is that we need. Usually, in my experience, I haven't had any issues with clients taking my lead when it comes to the fabric choice. It's just like, okay, I'll just go with what you say as far as fabric choice, as long as it has the outfit or whatever has this or it has that. So I do a sketch and I write out a lot of details on the side so that I don't want to have to go back and forth to them, and they be like, well, do you not understand what I want or anything like that? Because clients are different. You have great clients, then you have somewhat, and you have hard to deal with clients. So I try to minimize, because once it gets hectic as a designer, it kind of messes with your flow of work. So that's what I do. And then I get to making it, and we do a fitting in the middle. And from the fitting, we make adjustments, and then we have the final, put it on. Usually everything is great at the final fitting. I like to take pictures. I always take pictures before they go, for a few reasons. So, yeah.
Being in business, I'm quite sure I probably know what one of those reasons are.
Right.
So I have one last question. Do you think the outfit or the garment that you created could have been completed in one day? If the challenge was for one day, do you think you could have completed the garment? Look at Denise.
Are you serious?
Look, kudos to you, because I can't do what
It's
you
not
do.
really happening, Denise. Denise, it's not really. It's just a question, sweetie. You don't have to.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare do that to me.
I think I know the answer to that for Denise. No, it would be no. So speaking of Denise, she made me something last year, and it was in the designer day show. And so this is. I hope you can see. Oh Lord, you can't.
No.
Oh,
It won't show because of the green screen. So what I'll do is see how's invisible.
What? Is this the blue one?
Because let me
Oh
see
my
if I
God.
can take off, because it's coming up with the green screen. So when you know how you had a picture behind you, that's automatically built in, because I'm using StreamYard. So I have to take a picture and put it up, and but it's really green though. It's cute, but you can't see it because it's invisible. It's like it's my invisible cloak. Like it's my invisible cloak that Denise made me, but it's really pretty. And it's
The invisible person.
Okay.
yeah, there you go. When I get invisible, so you can't see me.
I can see the color, but
That was
oh
a
my
flop.
God. Aw.
So anyway, Denise made that for me, and I love it to death. And I wear it, and I always get a lot of compliments on it. So for you all designers, I just want to, in closing, I like to thank you so much for putting up with me. Yay! And being a part of the contest. I'm so excited. Later on tonight, I will be working with the videographer I have to send him some, he needs some work from me, some product from me. So I'll send it to him soon. And good luck to you all. Yay! I can't wait to see who the winner is.
thank
Yeah.
you.
So thank you again for the
This is
first,
fun.
and I'm not going to say only, but we'll see. But for the first Baltimore Fashion Week designer contest, it was pretty cool. And so for all of you who are listening, I want to thank you for your time and joining in. And we have Denise at the bottom. I can't never get this right. So we have Denise at the bottom right-hand corner. To her left, if you're looking at the screen, to your left is Varnessa, and then at the top is LaVincient. There you go. And I'm Sharon Nixon, so you all know who I am. And so soon we will go and want to support each one of these designers that you see here, because they're all in Fashion Week. So I'm Sharon Nixon. You can check out Baltimore Fashion Week at baltimore-fashionweek.com. We're on Instagram at Baltimore Fashion Week, and we'll see you on the 9th. Bye.
Bye.